that would not way. Nobody told me that quitting drinking would not feel like freedom right away. Everyone talks about quitting alcohol, but nobody really talks about what it feels like on the other side, especially at 60 years old. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the things that surprised me, the good, the hard, and the things that genuinely I did not see coming. So alcohol became a big part of my life, especially as I got older. I did drink when I was younger, but it got to be a real problem as I got older, in my 30s and in my 40s, especially after my son was born. We had a shared custody agreement with his father, and that was hard on me. I had to let my son go for a few days, and on those days that he went with his dad, I would stay home, I would sit on the couch, and I would drink just to numb those feelings and take away that depression that I was feeling because my baby was not with me. As he got older and I was working full time, I was a single mother, I started drinking on a daily basis to unwind, just to get rid of some of the stress and anxiety I was feeling, and at the end of a long day, to unwind. I thought, I deserve it, I work hard, and it did relieve that stress for a while. I would sit on the couch after my son went to bed and have a couple of glasses of wine, which later turned into hard liquor, and it would relax me, but it really started to become a problem, and I started to realize that at a time in my life when my mom became sick and she passed away. And in order to attempt to deal with that grief, I started drinking even more. I was trying to take those feelings of grief away, just to numb those feelings, but realize that alcohol does not numb grief. And I would cry, I would drink, and I would sob, and the feelings were just, they were terrible. And the more I continued to drink, the worse it got. And I come to realize that alcohol does not take away grief. And I realized that I needed to quit drinking in order to deal with those feelings of grief. With the loss of my mother, I had to quit drinking, or I would suffer for many years ahead. I had to deal with those feelings head on, and that's when I decided I needed to quit. The alcohol had become too much a part of my life, and I realized it was starting to affect the other areas of my life too, long before that. Trying to be a mom, my moods would be up and down. Having to get up in the morning after drinking the night before and going to work, my motivation was just not there. So when I first quit drinking, I have to be honest, it was difficult. I did have to reach out for help, and I found a couple of groups, especially a group of women that I found online that I could meet with on a weekly basis. But first few weeks are difficult. You have the cravings. If you are a regular drinker, you have those cravings that you're trying to deal with, and it's hard, especially when you're used to drinking on a daily basis at a certain time in the evening. You have to find something else to do with your time, something else to unwind and to relax. And I felt like reaching out and talking about it to other women that were in the same situation really did help. I can tell you it took a while for the sleep to get a little bit better. I know when I was drinking, normally every evening I would pass out and fall asleep and then wake up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning with a hangover and not being able to go back to sleep. But the sleep did get better eventually, and to this day I love to sleep. I love to get a good night's sleep, and without that alcohol, sleep is so much better. So the social awkwardness that nobody warns you about when you're at parties, when you're with family and friends that drink. When you're 60 years old, it's a lot different. At this point in my life, I don't really care what other people think, and if somebody asks me if I want to drink, I can politely decline and not have to go any further or go into any kind of an explanation regarding that. Family and friends know that I no longer drink. So what else nobody talks about is the emotions that come back, the emotions that you have to deal with when you quit drinking. You're used to numbing those feelings and all those emotions that you had to deal with in the past, and now you have to deal with them without the alcohol and find a way to do that. I found that to be one of the most difficult parts, especially when dealing with the death of a family member. I lost my brother during that time. He passed away. I lost a dear friend to domestic violence, and I had to deal with all that without the alcohol, and I have to say it was so difficult, but I got through it. I found ways to deal with it other than numbing the feelings. There's friendships and people around you. So some friendships ended quietly. Those friendships that you have that are surrounded by alcohol, that are built around drinking, just could not survive. You have to realize that. And I think you have an identity crisis of a sort later in life when you do quit drinking, when your whole life is surrounded by alcohol, when that's what you're built on, when that's what you use to deal with your life, and your body does not bounce back overnight. Some things do improve quickly. I noticed within a couple of weeks my sleep was a lot better. The bloating, the puffy face and things like that, your looks do improve because you start to feel better and you don't have that alcohol in your system any longer. I know whenever I was drinking and I would wake up hungover most mornings, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I tried to put my makeup on to go to work and my eyes were bloodshot and I was ashamed. I was humiliated, so I would try to put my makeup on without looking in the mirror. And that's one thing that I notice now. Your eyes are brighter, your skin is brighter, and you feel so much better. So just know that it does take a little while to bounce back, but you will feel better. So the good things come along, and some of them are much more quiet than others. So some things you start to realize more quiet, more slowly, like the peaceful mornings like today, where I can wake up early, I can drink a cup of tea and come out and go for a walk and come to the park and just sit and enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the sunshine, and just feel good about it. And I can tell you most mornings that I wake up, I thank God that I'm not hungover and that I don't feel sick. It's the small things that make a big difference, and this is one of them. So just realize that you don't have to hit rock bottom to deserve a better life. Sobriety at 60 is not punishment. It's you just growing up and realizing that you deserve a better life. You deserve a peaceful life. You're not giving something up. You're getting your life back. So just learn to find a replacement for that evening ritual if that's what you do. Take a walk. Just find something different to do. So just realize at the beginning that isolation makes it harder than it has to be. Reaching out to a group of women, getting together and talking about it does help. Like I said, I found a small group of women that I meet with, that I talk to, and that I'm still friends with today. So if you're finding yourself in the situation where you're questioning your drinking, reach out to one safe person, just one person, and talk to them about it. I know for myself, I went to large group meetings. I went to AA for a long time, and I just was not comfortable with the large groups. I am an introvert, so I think that had a lot to do with it, and I felt better meeting with small groups of women, and I found that in my area, and you can also find that online. So if you find yourself in this story, somewhere in the beginning or in the middle, just know that you are not alone, and at 60 years old, it's not too late. It's actually the perfect time. So tell me in the comments if you are on this journey. I read every single one, and if this video resonated with you, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I create this kind of content about sobriety and about rebuilding your life at 60 years old. And I'll see you next time.